good afternoon, good morning, and good evening to the participants. As Sheila introduced, I'm part of Agriculture Innovation Office at FAO, and I'm very happy to be here, and I thank the organizers also, like the previous speaker, Ravi, the moderator of this session as well. So just building onto what has been just said, why we need to talk about innovation and innovation systems, which is very crucial in transforming agri-food systems and helping countries food secure and nutrition secure. Increasingly the challenges the rural producers, farmers, agriculture sector as a whole facing are complex, and it's multidimensional, involves multi-stakeholders, and therefore we need to look at the systems approach, not just a single lens of particular innovation. And the other reason is there are so much uncertainties. Uncertainties we are facing, and there are a lot of shocks. We're just coming out of COVID pandemic, and which created a lot of disruptions in food and other supply chains around the globe. And so given that, we need to look into unconventional solutions that increase resilience, efficiency, and effectiveness of agriculture and food system. And the previous speaker also mentioned about the poor performance of research and extension, along also limited many, impacts of development impact in agriculture and food sector, and that also goes to impact of innovations, many innovations that has been spoken in this event. So having said that, we have many opportunities in our hand. Science, technology, and innovation plays a crucial role, and it's increasingly important in this field. Digitalization, ICT, and artificial intelligence and data. So, previous speakers all talked about how important and what kind of significant transformation this can offer. And partnership is very crucial aspect, and there is huge opportunity for us to partner and engage multi-stakeholders in agri-food system, not only public and private, but also producer organizations and development organizations, etc. And one of the challenges that was mentioned is enabling access to credit and financial innovations. And there are some opportunities like green trade, carbon credits, etc. is becoming available, and there we have a lot of tools in our hand now, data and evidence, and forecasting, foresighting, etc. So this is also a huge opportunity. Market and economic growth. With digitalization, the market is expanding and linkages are strengthened, and that will strengthen the food supply chain. And this opportunities doesn't come with challenge, and the previous speaker also spoke a bit some of these challenges. Infrastructure, connectivity is still a challenge. There is huge divide in digitalization, access to credit and other services. Some of us talked about extension services, which is very critical in bringing innovation, facilitating local innovations on the ground, which is still lack in terms of capacity, funding, and other things. Capacities at not only individual level, but institutional level is a huge challenge. And there are policy gaps and gaps in the implementation and changing demographics. Like our rural population is aging in many countries, and yet youth and young people are not interested in going back to agriculture, and hopefully with a lot of innovation and and digitalization or efficiency in the system, and this may change. Climate change, natural resource degradation is big threat, and conflict. No, we have energy and food price, but also conflict in terms of in social context. Now we have Ukraine and Russia, etc. They create a lot of challenges in agri-food sector. And other thing which I find one of the biggest challenges, mindset and cultural change. No, it's very difficult to, and it's a slow process, let's say, to make that cultural and mindset changes, which are very important to make innovation and transform the agri-food sector. Other challenges, social inclusion. You know, we talked about infrastructure and connectivity, etc. But we want to make sure that innovation is inclusive and it doesn't further divide inequalities and etc. So having said all this, we need to look at things in a very comprehensive and multidisciplinary way. One size doesn't fit all, and we cannot continue business as usual. And we need to look at really mix of instruments, mix of ways of doing things, no? And I was listening to the previous panel as well, and we really have to contextualize our interventions and make it relevant, but also really have a multiple tools in our toolbox to address different challenges in different communities and different ecosystems are facing. And we need to collaborate more cross-sectoral and multidisciplinary approaches involving various actors, non-traditional actors, unusual suspects, as they say, is very important, and incentives and improved governance to facilitate effective collaboration among those actors is critical. And when we talk about innovation, we'd like to talk about technologies a lot, but we need to think about very comprehensively and holistically, talk about hardware, softwares, like software meaning soft skills, and as well as orgware, which is institutional development. No? So beginning of this panel, the moderator kindly read out the definition of innovation, which is very much identical to what I have here, which is in FAO, we see innovation is a process whereby individuals or organizations bring new or existing products and processes, as well as ways of organization into use. So once the invention is put into use in a specific context, it is called innovation. And in order to increase effectiveness, competitiveness, resilience to shocks or sustainable agri-food system transformation. No? So, yeah, as I was saying, that invention is not always is not always necessary for innovation. And many of you talked about co-creation of innovation, local innovation, and transferring invention is not enough for innovation. No, innovation is, I just wanted to point this out just to clarify what I'm talking and be all on the same sort of page. Innovation is not only technologies, there is social innovation, institutional innovation, policy innovation, which are very important to make maximize the impact of technological innovation. No, otherwise technology alone will just simply, many of you are researchers, simply sits on the shelves of the research office or backyards. Some of you have seen many equipments and tractors sitting in the backyards of farmers because that technology couldn't get put into use because there is other innovations that needed to make that happen. So other thing is innovation is not always conceived in research centers or laboratories. No, many farmers and many rural communities are innovators, and there is a lot of local innovation that are very valuable. This slide is very busy and you may not see, but I meant to show the progress of systems approach. And I'm not sure if you can see the first row. At least I don't see it because of my black bar of the Zoom is on it. You know, we used to talk about technology transfer, which we still talk about, is still useful in some contexts. And then we moved on talking about farming system research. And then AIS, in Europe, we talk a lot about AIS, research, education, and farmer extension linkages. And then in FAO now we talk a lot about agriculture innovation systems. And here that the main, you know, you see the sort of progress and changes. And just to point out one, for example, innovators in different systems, how they used to. So for technology transfer approach, we used to see scientists as an innovator. In the farming system approach, we see research scientists as well as extensionists as innovators. And then in our case, we see farmers, scientists, and extensionists together as innovators. But in agriculture innovation systems concept, we see multiple actors as innovators. We all, you know, every actor in the agri-food system innovates in own context. So here is an innovation systems framework that I'd like to just talk about. This framework was used in tropical agriculture platform, which is G20 initiative, and the secretariat is hosted at the FAO's Office of Innovation. So innovation system is a network of actors or organizations and individuals together with supporting institutions and policies in agricultural and related sector that brings existing and new products, processes, and forms of organization into social economic use. No? So if you see in the figure here, you see in our left research and education more like a knowledge bodies, no? And then you see in our right business and enterprises, value chain actors, farmers, agribusinesses, and consumers, more like private sector, production, value chain actors. And then in the middle, they call it bridging institutions. There you have different stakeholders, but mainly providing extension services, advisory services, contract farming, etc. Then all these actors, which is basically agri-food system actors, interact with a given enabling environment, which is in the bottom you see. And the enabling environment is not only policies, but it's about investments, it's about mindset, formal, also informal institutions, people's behavior, culture, etc., as well as your natural resource and eco-services. No? And personally, I see innovation system is sort of like jigsaw puzzle, and put it in a simple way. And every stakeholder in agri-food system holds a piece of a puzzle. So to get the full picture, you really need to bring different actors together with their piece so that you can put the puzzle together to see the complete picture. So what makes innovation happens? People with bright mind, creativity, is supported by the organizations, institutions, support services, and enabling environment and policies, and institutions that are both formal and informal that shape the way actors interact, generate, and share knowledge, as well as jointly learn and jointly innovate. No? So just to speed up a bit, some of the key elements of agriculture innovation system is partnership. Network building partnership is very important when we talk about systems approach and agriculture innovation system approach, and collective learning and reflection and documentation. And facilitation is very important to facilitate the partnerships, as well as leaders, our champions, and the co-creation of knowledge. Development of functional capacities. You know, many of us are technical experts. We are agronomists or researchers and this and that, but the functional skills is very important in overcoming our challenges and come together collectively, innovate. And then conducive policies, institutions, as well as funding. So I just want to offer some of the practical lessons learned from my own hands-on experience in promoting agriculture innovation system at the country level, which includes some of the I made short list of things that I want to share with you. The context really matters. You know, context really matters. Within country, you have a lot of diversity. Context matters there. Who you have, what capacity they are, and what other agroecological environment they're in, and then multi-stakeholder is very crucial in promoting agriculture innovation. Inclusivity, leaving no one behind, is very important. One must be mindful, and room for flexibility, tolerance of failure. When we're dealing in innovation, there ought to be a failure. And so it's important factor. Capacity development, individual versus institutional development. And I would underscore the institutional development because often in international projects, we do lots of individual trainings, no? But in the end, you know, as previous speaker was mentioning, making innovation to scale, let's say, we really have to have a local institutions with the right capacity to support that. And then facilitation versus direction and prescription. You know, we need to facilitate innovation in a local context rather than bringing in innovation and say, this is how it should happen. And access to information versus information overload. You know, we talked a lot about big data, AI, etc. So data and information is very important, but how to use it is very also critically important. Interpretation and use of information, and often you know, it's very easy to get nowadays, very easy to get the overload of information. Evidence-based decision making, of course, critical. Previously, people spoke about it, assessing the situation before deciding your entry point, and then the MEL, the monitoring, evaluation, loading. And I capitalized the learning aspect. You know, we traditionally monitor and evaluate, but also to promote innovation and scale innovation, we need to learn a lot. So this is my last slide, just to put out the call for investing human capital and strengthening agriculture innovation. Promoting sustainable agriculture food system is complex and context specific, and the process and impact of innovation can vary one place to another. And rather than promoting a specific type of innovation over others, strengthening innovation systems and enhance capacity to adapt, respond in order to realize potential of innovation in given country is very important. And developing human and institutional capacity to support innovation process is fundamental if one wants this innovation to be scaled, no? So thank you very much for this opportunity to speak to you, and I hand it over. Thank you. I hope didn't go too much over time.